Fisheries, in collaboration with the Sub-Regional Fisheries Commission, has started a three-day training program for participants from member countries. The conclave seeks to expose participants to the operational use of monitoring, control, surveillance and reporting tools for detection. As Isatumani reports, the training brought together members from over 6 countries in the region.
The three-day training program will help enhance the capacities of personnel on the management and use of fisheries surveillance operation systems, which will promote the drive to protect fisheries resources.
The Gambia government is fully supportive of any measures to strengthen monitoring, control and surveillance systems in member states of the Sub-Regional Fisheries Commission. And this is why this training workshop, which I understand is the second one for MCAS, that is Monitoring, Control and Surveillance Personnel of member states, on the management and use of fisheries surveillance operations systems is really welcome.
The government of the Gambia, according to the Fisheries and Water Resources Permanent Secretary, is supportive of any measure to strengthen monitoring, control and surveillance systems in member states of the Sub-Regional Fisheries Commission. Amadou Sen harped on the need to protect the marine resources of the various countries to meet the needs of the current and future generations of their respective countries.
The requirement to protect our precious fisheries resources are enormous and involve, among others, the introduction and application of appropriate legal instruments and the setting up and implementation of effective and efficient mechanisms for monitoring, control and surveillance of fishing activities. And I must say, other activities taking place out there in our territorial waters. If we reflect on the shared nature of the fisheries resources of the sub-region and on the importance of the fisheries sector in the socio-economic development of our respective countries, then it becomes very easy to justify the need to make the necessary effort to meet all the requirements to safeguard our precious fisheries resources.
Mfamara Damfa is the Director of Fisheries in the country, and he believes that the ultimate aim of the training is to foster cooperation among member countries.
For the Gambia, the ultimate goal for Africa is the attainment of closer and mutual benefit cooperation among all African countries. However, it has been realized in the Gambia that the best approach to attainment of the ultimate goal is through the creation and strengthening of sub-regional and regional groupings, with member countries fully convinced of the need for such groupings aiming to promote the socio-economic development of their countries.
The Permanent Secretary of the Sub-Regional Fisheries Commission, Kansire Amadou, thanked Gambian officials for accepting to host the convergence. He urged member countries to be steadfast in pursuance of protecting the fisheries resources of their countries. Amadou hailed the EU for funding their surveillance project, which was a huge success. It is hoped that at the end of the three-day training program, participants will be equipped with the requisite skill to positively impact on protecting the marine resources of their respective countries. For Grts News, I am Esther.
Well, the Gambia International Airlines informs intending pilgrims to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that the last aircraft is scheduled to depart Banjul tomorrow, Tuesday, the 2nd of October 2012. A media release from the national carrier urges all intending pilgrims to report to Banjul International Airport for check-in at least 10 p.m. tonight. Officials of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs Monday revealed to the National Assembly PAC and PEC select committees of progress made on the reinforcement of the 2011 recommendations made by committees for the financial, social and political viability of the government and public services, institutions, enterprises and agencies. Louis Mendy reports the event marks the beginning of the 2012 lawful checks and scrutiny of the government and public enterprises, a constitutional exercise carried out by the PAC and PEC select committees every other year.
The 2012 lawful checks and scrutiny of government and public services, institutions, enterprises, and agencies Monday began with the update of the progress made on the reinforcement of the recommendations made by the PAC and PEC Select Committee of the National Assembly during the 2011 PAC-PEC joint sessions. These recommendations are meant to strengthen the financial, social, and political viability of both the government and public enterprises. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, as a key stakeholder of the PAC and PEC, to reinforce those recommendations, had their homework done prior to this session. For government enterprises, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs registered success by establishing internal audit functions previously missing in government enterprises. The ministry also established mechanisms for the sustainability of the IFMIS as well as the central bank daily reconciliation with Treasury.
For the project accounts, we have had a series of meetings and also a workshop with the relevant projects and have designed a format where they will need to, like a standard reporting format, which can be uploaded and put in the IFMIS system so that their reports are incorporated.
The lack of adequate supporting document to accompany payments, poor recovery loan system in some public enterprises, and also the issue of staff remittance not reaching Social Security after being deducted by employers are also some of the PAC and PEC recommendations the ministry succeeded challenging the concerned public enterprises to regulate.
I would want to give you an update on also some of the staff who had committed fraud and some of their cases were being taken up at the level of the Ministry of Justice. All of them except 3 the cases have been closed. Some of them are sent to prison currently. And out of these 3, there is a particular guy who was a principal accountant whose case has been referred to the Justice Department. However, I think there are problems in terms of following up because the guy has a serious health problem currently. He was involved in an accident.
Congratulated for the job well done, the PAC and PEC Select Committee was still critical of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs for not accomplishing some issues as recommended.
We have a lot of other institutions, government and public institutions, that are renting. And usually rent is very high. And over a period of 5 years, those rent collected could have even provided for a permanent space for these public institutions. And I remember we recommended the government urgently consider building centralized offices to accommodate these public enterprises and minimize payment of rent from central government. I don't know what is your reaction or what policy actions are being taken.
Made, but we would like to know those that have now got one and not. And also the non-payment of Social Security dues and also income tax, which we are very much concerned about because they are very important to the lives of the workers, and so we feel that they should be paid and paid on time.
But we mentioned that the status of the AMRC has to be revisited. That is, they are involved in trading, which is not within their mandate, and a source of all the problems they are encountering at the moment.
We have all learned that the GIA made a losses of 84 million through Jacques Janou under GS Aviation. And it was recommended by this committee that Jacques Janou should be pursued through Interpol for him to account for this 84 million. Government has done its part in trying to get Jacques Janou through Interpol, but unfortunately there is still a problem.
The PAC and PEC Committee recognized that all the 2011 recommendations are met by concerned institutions. This, they believe, is the only way to ensure government, public enterprises and agencies deliver desired services to the general public and for the attainment of the MDGs. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we come back, we'll take a